today, Mr. Kahn put the table on the board. What were your thoughts about that table?
Well, I thought the table was actually I thought it was a very useful way of breaking down the facts very simply. It's not supposed to go in depth, but it's a good way to start it off. And I liked how he gave these specific answers, and it showed a real cut and dry way to start it off, which I enjoyed.
I heard him say a couple times that he was apologizing for moving too fast. Did he move too fast?
Well, I don't think, because we had read it already, I think it's okay because we had gone over some knowledge, and it's not brand new to us. But the only way he would be moving too fast, I guess, is if it was brand new for people. But since we've been doing this for already 2 years, I don't think it was, at least for me it wasn't, but maybe for some people who had not read the stuff, or maybe, then it might have been a little too fast.
Okay. What about the examples? Do you think he had too many examples?
You mean the 3 scenarios?
Yes.
Well, I thought that the thing I didn't like was the third scenario, because the first 2 were seemed to be realistic, but the third one about the bomb, there's no, like, it's not very logical at all, because he's saying that you can make this nuclear bomb out of household materials. It's something someone can't relate to in any way, I think. So I think that was the only problem. The first one, the one about the students killing and the mobster, those are relatable, those are things that people know that actually can happen. But the third one was just a total hypothetical that has I don't think it had any relation. So I think grounded examples are very good.
Okay, all right. And then I noticed he used the technique nose to desk.
He does that a lot. Yeah, we make fun of it. It's, we always make fun of it because it's silly, because we're like, I don't know, like 17, 18. But actually, I think it sort of is useful. A lot of people say like it's useful in private because, you're not swayed by other people's opinion. And, peer pressure is, everyone succumbs to peer pressure. And I think that's what, it's good, it gets annoying because, it seems so like juvenile, it seems so strange, like a kindergarten kind of thing. But it is useful in getting an actual opinion.
Great. And mock trial, notice that was something you guys used. How did you feel about that? Was it useful to you? I
think it's fun, I think, but the only problem with mock trial is we have a very minimal, like, something about this, we like, for another topic he does this for, and we have a very minimal knowledge of the law. So instead of it being based on the law, it's mostly based on what we're feeling. And, I mean, it's like, do you agree with this? It's a preconceived notion that we already have about the subject. It's nothing like, we don't, at most, we'll probably know one case, but I mean, I guess to make it better in a way, would give us some knowledge of the law, but then I think a bad part of that would take away some of the instinctual feelings. Like, he's making us govern, I think, like Anton Scalia, which is very opinionated, other than a knowledge of.
How do you feel it could be better?
How it could be better? A little more knowledge on the subject, because for this one, we sort of knew already about cases. We know about Schenck and New York Times, but for other things, it's just it's one case, and it's not even a real case, it's a hypothetical, and it's basically, like, he gave us something on a monkey. It was like, should monkeys be considered pets or wild animals? And we had no idea, no rulings on this, and very few, he just told us one case, and it's basically just your opinion and your experiences, and that's how it was decided. So it's not about the law, it's more about the people's opinions, which is actually probably how the Supreme Court is, most of the cases are done.
What should he change to help students understand more?
What should he change? I think that, I think that the good thing is the interactiveness, but I think that he should, what should he change? Well, I think he should give more information on some of this stuff. I mean, because he always likes, it's like blind trial, just go in there, deep end of the pool, and for some things that's not always that good. But I think, a little more explanation, and that I think would help. More explanation, more previous knowledge, I think. So you can have more opinions grounded in fact than just total opinion.
When you say deep end of the pool, like, tell me what you mean by that.
Because, all right, the first time we did a mock trial like this, he gave us a case. We didn't know anything. He said, we're just going to give you a case, and it was an assault case, and we had no idea what it was about. And he told us to write a opening statement, and we had no idea how to. He didn't tell us how. He just wanted to see how we were doing it. And then he made us do what was it? An opening? No, what was it? Witness. When you cross the witness, a cross-examination and a direct. And he gave us no idea how to do it, and then we had to present it. And, people didn't know what they were doing, and he was giving us, and so it was very confusing in the meeting, that's what I mean. He just gives us all this stuff, and he says, do it. And then maybe later, like a month, he tells us specifically how to do it.
Why do you think he does it that way?
Probably just wants to see what we know already, I didn't think it was useful. And he never did the case. He never brought it to a mock trial. Sort of stopped it abruptly. Yeah. I guess just to show us the parts or something. I guess that's what he was thinking.
Okay. What questions do you have now
About
about anything that you may have learned today or yesterday?
about yesterday. Well, he said specifically how the case ended. Because usually sometimes he won't tell us how the thing ends, and that can be a little annoying. But I guess the questions are about I want to know if there are how many other cases like this. I think that would be interesting. You know, for further knowledge, you can tell us about cases like that.
Okay. What do you think is the most important thing students are going to get out of this?
Out of this lesson?
Yeah.
Well, I think that students are going to enjoy the mock. They get the mock trial because the thing about the mock trial, which is I like, is you don't have a lot of preparation, so you have to think very quickly on your feet. And I think that's a very useful skill. And students don't. I know people don't like being put on the pressure, but I think it's very good because not always you're going to have a full thing to do. So like 3 minutes. You know, you talk about it and you get right to it, and I like that.
Okay.
I think that's useful.
Okay. Overall, for this entire unit, what was something that you felt you really, really learned?
The unit of free speech that lasted 2 days. I think that I learned a lot about, I learned a lot more about the clear and present danger. We went into topic on that, and more of the specifics, I guess, because usually you get a very general knowledge, and he went down the specific. And you learn about other people's opinions. And I always find that interesting to see, because these people, like it or not, are probably going to have some high-end jobs. Well, you probably don't want that to happen. But you get to see the majority, and you see which opinions are popular, which are not, and then you get to argue against them.
Okay. And then in terms of what do you think he was trying to teach? What do you think his ultimate goal was?
I think his ultimate goal was to try and teach us about a fundamental right that everyone takes for granted. He wants to talk about when that right is, how the restrictions of that right, like how far it can go, because he takes a topic that everyone knows about, but they don't really understand in a way. So he wants to talk about more of the specifics and how that's applied in real life and when problems can arise.
Okay. And then my last question is, what would you change about any of this that you've learned?
What would I change about this? Well, I would change the, I would change definitely the scenario. One of the scenarios. You have to have real grounded scenarios that seem plausible, because if you don't have something plausible, I don't think people take it as seriously, and and people don't care as much. Whereas the third situation was, I didn't care as much because I didn't find it plausible at all. I even wrote that in the homework. It was not plausible.
Okay.
But I still gave a good answer. So I think one thing, more plausibility in the situations.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope. Pretty good.
Okay.